At Little Moose Summer Camp, the counselor Mr. Bird is telling a story to the children gathered around him. 50 years ago there was the most wicked counselor in the camp's history. A man named Jerry who shared the same name as the cartoon character from Tom and Jerry. One day the campers played a prank on him by slipping a snake into his backpack. The moment Jerry opened it, the snake startled him so badly that he lost his balance and tumbled down the hill. His body was never found, but some claim to have seen him later, wandering like a madman in the woods. Since then people have stopped calling him Jerry and started to call him the Woodsman. Just as Mr. Burt finishes the story, a man suddenly appears with an axe in his hand. The children scream and run in panic, unaware that it's just one of the camp's old scare tricks. Later that night, while putting out the campfire, Daryl suddenly hears a strange noise and goes to see where it comes from. But people say those who walk around too much at night might run into ghosts. The woodsman really appears, forcing Daryl to run for his life. Not only that, the woodsman sets a fire as a warning, demanding that Little Moose Camp leave the area at once. At the same time, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are busy enjoying 2 sandwiches. Suddenly they see a giant shadow and freeze in fear, not knowing that it's just Velma testing her new mosquito-proof suit. Meanwhile, Fred and Daphne are choosing supplies because Fred is about to return to his old summer camp Little Moose, this time as a counselor. However, before they leave, the shop owner warns them not to go there, saying that monsters have been spotted around the camp. Even after hearing the warning, the Mystery Inc. team still heads straight to Little Moose because of Fred. Before long they see the camp ahead, but something feels wrong. Fred remembers it being on the other side of the lake. When they finally arrive, everything is quiet and there isn't a single person anywhere nearby. Fred drives through every path he can find but still doesn't see a single child. Shaggy just hopes there are no ghosts here when suddenly Mr. Darryl appears out of nowhere, shouting for them to run because the camp is haunted. Confused about what's going on, Fred, Velma, and Daphne decide to investigate. Before long they meet the camp counselor Mr. Burt and the ranger Mr. Knudsen. Although he feels reluctant, Mr. Burt has no choice but to shut down the camp to keep the children safe. Seeing how much Fred has grown, the boy he once knew, now a young man, warms Bert's heart. The two reminisce about old times and Fred quickly asks what's happening. Ranger Knudsen doesn't hide the truth. The legend of the woodsman has come to life. Velma also overhears that the rival camp Big Moose is competing with Little Moose. Ranger Knudsen is busy with many other duties and warns Mystery Inc. not to get too involved if they don't want any trouble. Ignoring the rumors, Fred is determined to solve the mystery to the end. Suddenly a bus arrives carrying 3 children. Mr. Burt is about to announce that the camp has been canceled, but Fred stops him because it's rare enough to have children coming here and he can't waste the chance. So Luke, Trudy, and Deacon join the camp, innocently unaware of the danger waiting ahead. By the time the bus leaves, it's already too late to turn back. Deacon gets help from Daphne, but he starts having trouble breathing. Velma takes care of Trudy, though the girl only pays attention to her phone. Luke is too energetic, so Fred barely has a chance to guide him. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy go to the kitchen to cook for everyone, but they barely make any food while eating most of it themselves. Scooby-Doo tries a chili and doesn't expect it to burn worse than confessing to his crush and getting left on read. Then he moves on to chopping onions and ends up crying like rain. When Shaggy notices the firewood is running out, he tells Scooby-Doo to go get more. Meanwhile, Fred shows off his tracking skills, saying these are moose footprints, but the animal he ends up finding is Scooby-Doo. Embarrassed, so Fred pretends the tracks are broken and quickly leads everyone somewhere else. On his way back to the kitchen, Scooby-Doo hears a strange noise. He doesn't expect to come face to face with the very moose Fred has been looking for. Then comes another shock that the woodsman stands right behind the moose. Without saying a word, he throws his axe straight at Scooby-Doo, forcing the dog to run with all his strength if he doesn't want to become prey. As soon as he gets back inside, Scooby-Doo seals the door shut. Shaggy doesn't understand what he's so scared of out there. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. Shaggy opens it and sees a dark figure. Scooby-Doo faints on the spot, not knowing it's only Mr. Burt bringing more firewood. Later everyone gathers around the dining table, sharing dinner and laughter without realizing they're being watched. The next morning when the sun rises, everyone gathers at Little Moose Lake. Fred plans 1 hour of boating, 2 hours of fishing, and half an hour of swimming. Luke wonders why they don't just go to Big Moose Lake where it's more spacious, so Fred tells a story. Long ago there was a boy at Big Moose Lake who was bullied too much, so he spent all his time swimming in the lake until he turned into a monster. The story sounds scary, but no one wants to swim in Little Moose Lake, so Fred decides to move to Big Moose instead. They have fun together there, though Trudy quickly gets bored. Her parents sent her here because she plays too many games, and now she just wants to go home. Fred and Luke are fishing when a jet ski suddenly races past them. Fred is about to yell, but when he sees a pretty girl, all his anger disappears. Heroes always fall before beauty. Later, as the sun begins to set, Scooby-Doo says he wants to go for a short dive. Under the lake, he gets lost chasing a fish and accidentally discovers a building. Just as he swims closer to look, a hand grabs his leg from below. Scooby-Doo gets startled and shoots out of the water while shouting mermaid in panic. Shaggy and Daphne see it and hurry to row away, while Velma and Trudy don't react fast enough and their boat gets flipped. The fishman is about to swallow them when Fred and Luke rush in to save them, but the creature changes its target right away. Just as it's about to attack Fred and Luke, Scooby-Doo's boat rushes in first. Everyone paddles as fast as they can to escape, unaware that a dam is right ahead. The fishman pushes their boat and sends them crashing down. They barely survive. Anyone else would have died on the spot. After that, they quickly report the incident to Ranger Knudsen. From Scooby-Doo's description, he can already imagine what the creature looks like. He says, "I'll look into this, but you'd better stay away from it as soon as you can." After hearing what Ranger Knudsen says, Scooby-Doo immediately packs his things, but Fred doesn't want to give up on the mystery, so he decides to stay and set a trap. Late that night at the Little Moose summer camp, Fred manages to trap the woodsman, but he doesn't expect that right after pulling off the bag, the beautiful girl from Big Moose Lake appears. She introduces herself as Jessica, a counselor from the Big Moose camp. Mr. Burt wonders what she's doing there, and she says some of her camp's equipment has gone missing, so she comes to investigate. At that moment, the woodsman appears right behind them. Everyone sees him and runs away before he can catch them, while Scooby-Doo and Shaggy climb up a pole, thinking he won't follow, but both of them forget that the woodsman has an axe, so it doesn't take long before the pole is chopped down. With nowhere left to run, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are cornered, but luckily they split in two directions and manage to escape, and their bad luck comes another twist. A water pipe breaks and sends them flying straight into the bushes. Meanwhile, Fred, Velma, and Jessica hide under the table when the woodsman finds them. The three quickly run outside, but he is several steps faster. The woodsman doesn't expect Daphne and Mr. Burt to appear just in time to rescue Fred and Velma. On their way, they also help Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, but the weight is too much to handle and everyone falls down together. Coincidentally, they see the woodsman chasing Jessica, so they rush to save her. Jessica is cornered and has no choice but to cross the broken bridge. When everyone catches up with the woodsman, he cuts the bridge ropes to escape. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy don't have time to think. They jump forward and grab Jessica just in time. Luckily, the three of them fall by momentum and land safely on a rock. After that, everyone returns to Little Moose Camp and sees the place has been destroyed by the woodsman. He warns them to leave immediately. It is surprising that the three kids are still sleeping soundly despite all the chaos. The next morning, Jessica takes everyone to Big Moose Camp to hide. She also mentions where the RV has been stolen. Velma remembers that every RV has a GPS tracker, so she just needs to turn on the signal to locate it. As soon as she sees it in Shadow Canyon, Mr. Burt panics. That place is said to be haunted by the ghost of a lost hiker, known as the Spirit of Shadow Canyon. It sounds terrifying, but there's no mystery that the Mystery Inc. team can't solve. Fred quickly divides the group. He, Jessica, Daphne, and Luke search for the building at the bottom of Little Moose Lake. Velma, Mr. Burt, and Trudy check the location of the stolen RV, while Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Deacon go to look for something to eat. Fred, Jessica, Daphne, and Luke soon put on their diving suits and dive into the lake. As soon as they see the building Scooby-Doo once discovered, the fishman appears. Fred fires the net gun, but it doesn't work, so he fights back. Soon the fishman grabs Fred's gun. Seeing that Daphne sacrifices her oxygen tank to save Fred, the fishman still doesn't intend to let them go, so they are forced to find a way to escape. Just as it opens its mouth to bite them, they manage to swim into a hole leading to an underground cave. Luke guesses there are still many mysteries ahead waiting to be uncovered. Meanwhile, Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Deacon find the dining hall, but they aren't part of Big Moose Camp, so they are kicked out. They have no choice but to run away, yet the slope outside is too steep for them to control the cart. As a result, Shaggy almost falls off a cliff. Just when he's about to breathe a sigh of relief, Scooby-Doo suddenly pops up, and with Deacon joining in, poor Shaggy nearly runs out of oxygen from how much he gasps in fear. At the same time, Velma, Mr. Burt, and Trudy split up to look for the RV. While they wonder where it is, Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Deacon appear. The RV is painted to look like a rock. They quickly break in and find signs that someone has been there. Meanwhile, Fred, Jessica, Daphne, and Luke enter the underground cave. Luke sees a box and opens it. thinking it is a candle. He lights it without realizing it is a firecracker, but Fred reacts in time and throws it away so Luke doesn't get hurt. By accident, this also opens a way out for everyone elsewhere in Shadow Canyon. The rest of the group hears a terrifying scream. The ghost of the canyon appears, which scares everyone into the car. Scooby-Doo tries to use his exorcism book, but it gets torn to pieces. The ghost appears in front of the car and Velma immediately brakes, then decides to run up the cliff instead of driving past it. Later, everyone gathers to share what they have discovered. Deacon finds it too frightening and wants to go to Big Moose summer camp, so Jessica escorts him. Velma realizes the only one who can answer their questions is the shop owner, a longtime resident who knows most of what has happened. They learn that at the bottom of Big Moose Lake there used to be a mining town called Moose Creek. A brutal gangster named Ricky robs banks and hides treasure in town before getting caught. Soon after, Moose Creek floods, creating Big Moose Lake. The Mystery Inc. team deduces that someone wants Ricky's treasure. Before he dies, Ricky tells his secret to his cellmate Baby Beretti, who escaped from prison 2 months earlier. Velma sees on the map that the culprit wants Little Moose Summer Camp evaluated because it lies under Big Moose Lake. The team realizes Luke and Trudy are still at Little Moose Summer Camp. When they arrive, they see the forest man has destroyed the area, but Mr. Burt, Luke, and Trudy are safe, having successfully hidden. The storm has just begun when the culprit blows up the dam, forcing everyone to run as fast as possible. They try to get into the mystery machine before the flood hits. Fred is in the back, so who is holding the steering wheel? Shaggy wonders when Scooby-Doo learns to drive while even Scooby-Doo doesn't know he can. Scooby-Doo also quickly jumps onto 2 small boats to avoid sinking, earning him the MVP title. After Big Moose Lake drains, the town of Moose Creek appears before everyone's eyes. They quickly move toward the bell tower they are looking for when a black shadow suddenly appears. Fred pulls everyone to hide immediately. In the chaos, he rushes over without realizing it is Jessica, who quietly follows after seeing Deacon walking that way. Meanwhile, Scooby-Doo pokes his head into the bushes and sees the woodsman standing there. He tries to signal Shaggy, but Shaggy doesn't pay attention. Only when Scooby-Doo pulls Shaggy's face to look does everyone notice. Deacon suddenly appears from a building to show them the way to escape. As soon as everyone enters, Deacon closes the door. It turns out there is no Deacon, only a criminal named Baby Beretti in disguise. Fred, Jessica, and Luke try to shake off the woodsman. Even though they run to the top of the tower, he still refuses to let them go. When he is about to attack Jessica, Fred reaches out to show the power of unity. As the woodsman falls, he pulls Jessica down, but Fred saves her in time. Jessica's shoe falls, causing the woodsman to fall as well. Meanwhile, the others try to escape from the prison. Shaggy, suffering from claustrophobia, screams and accidentally breaks the bars holding everyone. They gather to remove the woodsman's mask, but he disappears. As the sun rises, the bell tower shines a beam of light toward the buried treasure. Scooby-Doo digs quickly and finds Ricky's treasure. Daphne opens it to see stacks of dollars and gold bars, but the joy is brief because the fishman appears again. Fred and Shaggy try to fight it with wooden planks, but it doesn't work. Scooby-Doo uses the mystery machine to drag the mermaid away. Then they remove the familiar mask and see the woodsman is Ranger Knudsen. It was all Baby Beretti's plan. He tries to take the treasure, but Scooby-Doo stops him. The police arrive to take Baby Beretti back to prison, but this time with a new cellmate. Velma figures out that Baby Beretti hired Ranger Knudsen to scare people away from Little Moose Summer Camp and blow up the dam. Although they catch the culprit, there is still a problem. Big Moose Summer Camp has a camp but no lake, and Little Moose Summer Camp has a lake but no camp. Mr. Burt and Jessica merge the 2 camps into one. In the end, Fred enjoys summer camp like when he was a kid, but this time he has more close friends with him.